All right, welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. We appreciate you being here again. I know we've got a bevy of things. We've been hitting it pretty hard in the past 24 hours, past 18 hours. We did three broadcasts yesterday, and we're following it up with one this evening. we got a few minutes. We need to sneak one in here. We've been sort of lacking, and I don't want to be lacking. I want to be, I want to be on it. And here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Chicago shoot 'em up. The tragedy that happened in Oregon the other day is horrendous and terrible, and people are upset that the first thing that the president mentioned was not the horrible loss of life and maybe going there and seeing those families, inviting the guy who took 5 bullets to save others, inviting him into the White House, maybe going to his hospital room, maybe sending President Biden, oh God forbid, Vice President Biden to the guy's bedside to say, hey, thanks. A grateful America says thank you. That's what the vice president's for, by the way. That's what the vice president's for. Send that person to bid greetings from the White House. That's what he's for. I don't know why none of that happened and hasn't happened yet, but it's not surprising that the president decided to talk about gun control. There's a meme on Facebook that says that some guy in Africa shoots a lion and it's the shooter's fault. But when somebody gets shot here, it's certainly the gun's fault. That's how we're going to solve the problem. We're going to solve the problem. We're going to pick up all the guns. We're going to make it difficult for people to get guns. So that will solve all the problems. When the fact of the matter is, 1997, Great Britain outlawed or banned guns, and now they've got more stabbings than ever. Were they going to ban knives? Well, of course not. Because that's silly. That's as silly as banning guns. We've all, a lot of us who are on the internet watched a British soldier get hacked to death with a machete while the cop couldn't do anything because he had to radio another Bobby who actually was able to carry a firearm. If the first cop in Britain had a firearm, he could have shot that sumbitch in the head and maybe save the soldier's life. But that didn't happen. So if we look at, and we do this on my show all the time, you guys know, let's look at what works. Let's look at what happened. The fact of the matter is that if you look at the numbers, the president is incorrect when he talks about the amount of gun violence, that we're tops in the world of gun violence. As a matter of fact, if you adjust for population, we're not even in the top 5. Yes, there's gun violence here. There's a population of 300 million people. Yes, and there's a lot of bad guys. There's a lot of bad people here. Yes, evil is running around the United States, causing havoc and destroying people and destroying their families. Yes, evil exists in the world, and it exists here in the United States. And evil spills into places like churches and schools, like it never has before. Yes. But it isn't the implement of evil that's the problem. It's the evil that's the problem. The Daily Caller today had an article out, and in the description of the show, I took the liberty of copying the first paragraph. And it's a short article. Let me read it to you. Someone in Chicago has been shot every 2.84 hours this year, for a total of 2,349 shootings during the period of January 1st, 2015 and October 6th, 2015. Did you hear me? Someone in Chicago has been shot every 2.84 hours this year. Every 2 hours and 50 minutes, somebody gets shot in Chicago. for a total of 2,349 shootings during the period between January 1st and October 6th, and today. Now, those crime statistics are not published by the NRA. Those crime statistics are not published by a gun or ammunition requires a firearm owner's identification card in the entire state of Illinois, and additionally a Chicago firearm permit, which is required to possess a firearm in Chicago. Not only are the people heavily regulated in Chicago, but guns are heavily regulated. Any long gun with a grip protruding from the stock of a firearm with a telescoping stock is prohibited and classified as an assault weapon. So if you've got a grip that sticks down from the stock, that's an assault weapon. We know that's stupid, but that's an assault weapon. This isn't. So again, let's look at what happened. If we look at where gun control and regulations, these common sense regulations that the president keeps talking about and that Hillary Clinton keeps talking about, if we look at where they are they working? If they could show me and you that, you know what, we put these regulations into place in Chicago, a large city, and guess what? They work. Gun violence is down. Well, the fact of the matter is that gun violence is up. Then it's one of the most violent places for gun violence in the world. You know, it's funny, I was having a conversation with somebody this morning who travels a lot, and he said, you know what, he went to Chicago, went to the Chicago and got off at Midway and decided that they were not going to travel around Chicago because he thought it was too dangerous. Now, this is the same person who told me that they have been everywhere. They have been to Europe, they have been to South America, they've been to Brazil, they've been everywhere. But they were only going to stay around the airport while in Chicago. They were going to go to the nice mall, they weren't going to venture into the hood. They weren't going to South Chicago because it was too dangerous. They didn't want to get caught up in some bullcrap. This is a black man too. This is not a scared white man. This is not a scared white woman. This is a black man who said, I wasn't going there. I wasn't taking me and my wife there and getting caught up in some nonsense. So I find it extremely interesting that nobody in the left can tell me that, oh yeah, these things, we put these restrictions and common sense restrictions in place and they work. Well, they don't work. We see in the laboratory that they have, where they've got the most restrictions on firearms, they somehow have the most gun violence. From the ChicagoTribune.com, Chicago shooting victims, last updated today. They have a map that says it shows where people in Chicago were shot, broken down by community, and the darker areas. Well, I'll have to put that up later. But right now, this is the numbers that are on the ChicagoTribune.com website. 2,349 shooting victims between January 1st and October 6th. It's not working. It's not working. Don't let them try their experiments, their national experiment, or their local failure of an experiment on a national level. Don't let this country turn into a Chicago shoot 'em up. My name is Willie Lawson. It's the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. We will see you when we see you. Go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself.